Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start our social studies class with social studies textbook chapter number 14, the changing face of the earth. Dear students, it is the part of geography. In this chapter we will discuss about earth's face, how changes in earth faces occur, how that type of compositions we watch in our geographical condition or geographical habitats. All that thing we will discuss in this chapter. According to age, our face is also going to change, and according to human interaction with the environment, with geography, that type of changes also occur. And by nature also we watch that many natural disaster or many natural activities also make them possible. So in this chapter we will discuss about the changing face of the earth. Dear students, please open page number 92. It is the chapter number 14, the change face of the earth. It is the part of geography only. Once again I remind you, our earth is changing every moment, but the changes in general are so minor and slow that a person cannot comprehend or experience them during his lifespan. Our earth is changing every moment, but we couldn't notice that type of things because generally they are very minor and slow, so we couldn't comprehend or experience that type of changes in earth. The exterior of the earth may appear to be static and stable to a common man, but actually there are many changes occurring continuously inside as well as outside of the earth. We are watching only outside the earth, whichever changes take place, only that type of changes we can mention, but inside of the earth, which type of the changes taking place, we don't know about that type of changes. So we can say that in this chapter you will study about the factors that bring changes on the surface of the earth. Many scientists have put forward theories to explain the dynamic nature of the earth. Many scientists try to cover that type of dynamic nature of the earth. Because of that, they want to know that how that type of changes take place in the inside of the earth and outside of the earth. Because of that, if any type of changes take place outside of the earth, then we can watch that clearly, but inside of the earth what is going to happen, we don't know about that thing. The most acceptable theory was propounded by Alfred Wegener, a German meteorologist, in 1912. Meteorologist means a department in whichever we will study about the climate or weather. After the theory of continental drift, Alfred Wegener proposed that millions of years ago, all land masses were joined together into a supercontinent called the Pangaea. He suggested that the Pangaea broke and there was a horizontal displacement of the continents. This is called Wegener's theory of continental drift. Means on that type of theory is given by Alfred Wegener. According to him, we can say that millions of years ago land masses were joined together into a supercontinent. Means a short space, short places are taking to join, and after that they made supercontinent, and that is known the Pangaea. And that type of suggesting Pangaea broke down and into horizontal displacement of the continents, means and whatever continents in this time we are watching, that is a part of that only. So it is about the theory of continental drift. Wegener's theory was improved upon by adding the idea of seafloor spreading. The new concept is called plate tectonics. After that, one major theory is also given by scientists. This is about the plate tectonics. It says plate tectonics says like that the earth's crust consists of plates. Means inside of the earth, if we talk about the interior part of the earth, we can face plates known as the lithosphere or tectonic plates. Dear students, we will mention it tectonic plates. Many type of tectonic plates are also there inside our earth. There are 6 major and 20 minor plates. How many plates? 6 major and 20 minor plates are there, and totally 26 plates. 6 major, 20 minor, all of which float independently. Means they are floating independently, they are not charge of the anyone else. The rate of movement of the plate is extremely slow. If we talk about movement of the plate, then we can say that extremely very slow movement we can watch, about a few millimeters each year. Only few millimeter changes take place each year, means you can say that only a little movement we can watch in that one. The energy required to move these plates is produced by the internal heat of the earth. Means whenever internal part of the earth got heat, then that type of movement we are facing. The surface area of the plates is very large in comparison to their thickness. If we talk about their thickness, then we can say that the surface area is more than the thickness. Tectonic activities such as earthquakes. If we talk about many type of tectonic activities also happen in our geography, so we can say that like earthquakes, volcanicity occur along the plate margins. Means whenever that type of disturbance in the tectonic plates, then we have faced earthquake or volcanicity or something like that. The plates are continuously moving, means they are continuously moving, they are not stopping at a moment. The movement of the lithosphere plates cause various changes on the surface of the earth. The different types of movements of the plates are due to the various forces acting on it. Means on that time, whenever tectonic plates are moving on that time, many type of the forces also act on it. Because of that continuously movement is happen on the basis of their source of origin. These forces are divided into broad categories. First one is about endogenic forces, second one is exogenic forces. Dear students, in this one we will talk about the endogenic and exogenic forces. Two forces are there that are major forces. We can say that the forces which originate from within the earth are called endogenic, means inside of the earth. That type of forces, the endogenic forces, the forces which originate on the surface of the earth, means outside of the earth. That is exogenic forces. Two type of forces, endogenic and exogenic. Endogenic means inside of the earth, that type of forces take place and work on inside of the earth. Exogenic forces that take place on the surface of the earth and acting on surface only. One classification is also given here. Dear students, I mentioned here force which affect the earth's crust, means whichever type of the forces affect our earth's crust. So we have to talk about here two types of forces whichever mentioned I already, endogenic and exogenic. Endogenic means that type of forces is acted inside of the earth only, inside of the layer, lithosphere, something like that. And that type of exogenic forces act outside of the earth. If we talk about endogenic forces, then endogenic forces again divided into two parts: sudden mob forces and disastrophic forces. If we talk about sudden forces, means many type of sudden forces are also occur in our daily life, like the earthquake. We can face earthquake, volcanic eruption. Second one is, third one is landslides, and all that are sudden forces. Means that type of activities always suddenly happen and we don't know about that thing whenever it will be happen in future or nearby future. Disastrophic means mountain building. Like a volcanic eruption or anything will be happen, after that the mountain building is being going to be settled, then we can say that this is about the disastrophic forces. And exogenic forces means we can say that erosional and depositional work by, means this type of exogenic forces is worked outside of the earth only. Means the first process is here erosional and depositional work by. Who will do erosional work or depositional work? Rivers with river water. Wind, by flow of the wind. Glaciers, whenever glaciers melts and converted into rivers, and after that they are taking place sands or soils with them, then that type of action is also happen. Sea waves means tidal waves, or the tidal waves whenever they are coming in front of the beach or at the point of the bank of the beach, then that type of the sand is also be there, and that type of erosional and depositional work is going to be happen. Dear students, once again I am going to remind you, Earth's crust affecting by two types of the forces like endogenic, exogenic. Endogenic means inside of the earth, outside of the earth. Inside of the earth, it's suddenly divided into two parts: sudden forces, disastrophic forces. Sudden forces like earthquake, volcanic eruption, landslides, and disastrophic forces like mountain building. And exogenic forces like erosional and development, depositional work by rivers, wind, glaciers, and sea waves. Dear students, it's about the classification. The endogenic forces can produce sudden or slow movements on both. These forces also cause horizontal and vertical movement. Because of that type of movements, we can watch horizontal or vertical movements also we can understand. First one is about volcanoes. What's it mean by volcanoes? How many types of the volcanoes are there, and distributions of the volcanoes? All that thing we will discuss. First, volcanoes. A volcano is an opening in the Earth's crust through which molten rocks, acids, gases, and steam is thrown out on the Earth's surface. Volcano is opening on the Earth's crust. If we talk about Earth's crust is here, like it is the Earth's crust, then opening on that place only, and after that this start to molten rocks, whatever inside of that material, that going to be melt, and after that threw out molten rocks, acids, and many type of gases are also throwing out on the Earth's surface. That is structure is known as volcano. The opening through which lava and other material gush out is called vent or shaft. The cup-shaped mouth of the shaft is called crater. Means that type of cup shaped mouth, it is called as crater. This one part is known as a crater. If we talk about, sometimes the material from the interior of the earth is ejected to the surface through a long crack like opening called fissure. Means a very high pressure is being there, then it will be cracked, and at that type of structure is known as fissure. The volcanic cone or mountain is formed when the erupted materials accumulate around the vent. Now we'll talk about volcanoes types. How many types of volcanoes are there? On the basis of frequency of eruption. On the basis of frequency of eruption, we can divide it into three types. First one is active volcano. Active volcanoes erupt frequently and throw out lava, gases, ashes and rocks. These volcanoes are also called living volcanoes. Means now also they can be dormant or like the erupt anything. And it is the bad example is being Stromboli and Mount Etna in Italy are active volcanoes. After that, dormant volcanoes. Dear students, about types of volcano, once again I remind you, active volcano, first one already discussed, Mount Etna, Stromboli, and now dormant volcano means have become quiet after erupting. They do not show any indication of erupting in the near future. These volcanoes are also called sleeping volcanoes, means there is no chances for now erupting. Vesuvius in Italy is dormant volcano and extinct volcano. Dormant means now also can be dormant, erupt, active now also can be extinct, and dormant means that can be sleeper volcano also, that is known as sleep volcano, means now there is no chances of that type of volcanoes eruption. Now last one is extinct volcanoes. Extinct volcanoes have not erupted or hundred of years, there is no possibility of any eruption in future. These volcanoes are also called dead volcanoes. In Kilimanjaro, Africa, Ranger in USA, the extinct volcanoes. Dear students, once again I am going to remind you types of volcanoes. It is the very important part of the chapter. First one is active volcanoes. Means active volcanoes erupt frequently or throughout lava. Means now also can be erupt like Stromboli and Mount Etna. Second one is dormant volcano. Means have quiet before after erupting. They do not show any indication of erupting in the near future. This type of volcano are known as the sleeping volcano also. Extinct volcanoes have not erupted of hundred of years. There is no possibility of any eruption in future. Kilimanjaro in Africa and Rainier in USA. After that, now we'll talk about distribution of volcanoes. Most of the world's active volcanoes form a circular belt around the Pacific Ocean. That is why this belt is called the Pacific Ring of the Fire. Pacific Ring of the Fire. If we talk about us complete, we can say that world's map, then we can find a Pacific Ocean outside is being there. That type of place is making a ring, and that type of place is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. Because of that completely area is covered by the volcanic eruption or volcanic types of the rocks. This ring coincides with the age of the lithosphere plates. The second belt of the volcanoes is found along the Mediterranean Sea and is called the Mid-World Mountain Belt. This belt has mostly dormant, which Mediterranean Sea's belt, Mid-World Mountain, whichever known as, that type of place is also dormant and extinct volcanoes have belt. Fusiyama in Japan is one of the most beautiful volcanic mountain. The Deccan Plateau of India was probably formed due to fissure eruption. Dear friends, this one is about volcanoes. Once again we are going to revise the changing face of the earth, and once again I am going to revise all that thing whatever we study now only. Dear students, in this chapter we talked about forces which affect the earth's crust. It's divided into two parts. Two types of the forces work here: endogenic and exogenic. Endogenic forces again divided into two parts: sudden forces and dystrophic forces. Like sudden forces is of three types: earthquake, volcanic eruption and landslide. All that three types of forces, sudden forces and coming suddenly. Dystrophic forces like mountain building, that type of action is being also part of the endogenic forces. Means whenever volcanic eruption is being there, then that will be creation of the mountain. Exogenic forces means this type of forces take place outside of the earth, like erosional and depositional work by rivers, wind, glaciers and sea waves. It is the divination, it is the man circular of the forces which have affect the earth's crust. After that we will talk about now volcanoes, types of volcanoes. Volcanoes means you know that a volcano is an opening in the earth's crust and through which molten rocks, acids, gases and many much more type of streams or something like that throughout of the earth's surface. After that, types of volcanoes: active, dormant and extinct. Active volcanoes means erupt frequently and throw out lava, gases, acids, rocks. These volcanoes are also known as living volcanoes like Stromboli, Mount Etna. After that, dormant volcanoes. This type of volcanoes have become quiet after erupting. They do not show any indication of erupting in the nearby future, like Vesuvius in Italy and dormant volcano. Extinct volcano have not erupted or hundred of years. There is no possibility of eruption in the future, like Kilimanjaro in Africa and Rainier in USA. Dear students, it's about the changing face of the earth, and in next class we will discuss about earthquakes and distribution of earthquakes. Dear students, I hope you understand this chapter. If you don't understand anything or any part of the chapter, you can ask me through Google Meet class, or if you have any type of doubt, then you can share your doubt through Google Meet class. Thank you so much.